Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're able, would you please stand for the arrival of our official guests? Deputy Commissioner Mark Roach, AFSM, representing Commissioner Katarina Carroll, APM, Queensland Fire and Emergency Services. Acting Commissioner Michael Metcalf, ASM, representing Commissioner Russell Bowles, ASM, Queensland Ambulance Service. And Associate Professor John Harden, AM, Chairman of the Order of Australia Association, Queensland Division. Please join with me in welcoming our official guests. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We'll await the arrival of His Excellency. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you're able, would you please stand for the arrival of His Excellency, the Governor of Queensland and Mrs. De Jersey. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Your Excellency, with your permission, I'll begin. His Excellency, the Governor, will present the following honours and awards. Appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Dr. Natalie H.M. Jeremy-Yenko. For distinguished service to the arts and to higher education as an academic through pioneering contributions to architecture, technology, the sciences and engineering, and to rural and urban design. Professor Otron Zuber-Skerrit, for distinguished service to tertiary education in the field of action research and learning as an academic, author and mentor, and to professional bodies. Appointed a member of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Mrs. Leslie Janet Kilton, for significant service to community health as an advocate for support for people with mental illness and their carers and families. Professor Brandon John Wainwright, for significant service to medicine in the field of molecular bioscience, to cell biology and genome research, and to education through various Queensland institutions. Professor Claire Elizabeth Wainwright, for significant service to medicine as a respiratory clinician and for leadership into the study of cystic fibrosis at a number of South East Queensland medical facilities. Awarded the Australian Fire Service Medal, Mr. Donald Philip Baldwin, for outstanding leadership and commitment to the Queensland Fire and Emergency Services as Captain of the Thangool Auxiliary Fire Station and a leader of the local cadet program. Ms. Kay Michelle Healing, for outstanding leadership and dedication to the Queensland Rural Fire Service as a key advocate of the South East Queensland Fire Warden Network. Mr. Alan Edward Richards, for outstanding commitment and dedication to the Queensland Rural Fire Service through leadership roles with the Gold Coast Group and as a highly respected trainer. Mr. David John Woods, for outstanding dedication and commitment to the Queensland Fire and Emergency Services as a highly skilled and selfless contributor to the Australasian Road Crash Rescue Challenges. Awarded the Ambulance Service Medal, Mr. Gavin John Fuller, for outstanding dedication and commitment to the Queensland Ambulance Service as a Senior Operations Supervisor and at major events including Schoolies and the Gold Coast 600. Mrs. Lillian Sue Spencer, for outstanding dedication and commitment to the Queensland Ambulance Service as Officer in Charge at Gladstone and as a leader in patient care, drug compliance and client services. Mrs. Rebecca Jane Taylor, for outstanding dedication and commitment to the Queensland Ambulance Service as a Clinical Education Manager and a representative on the Queensland Health Women's Network Steering Committee. Mr. John Camillo Tesorero, for outstanding dedication and commitment to the Queensland Ambulance Service, providing high-level care and support as Manager of the South East Queensland Patient Transport Service. Awarded the Emergency Services Medal, Mr. Terence Arthur Chapman, for outstanding dedication to the Queensland State Emergency Service as Logan SES Deputy Local Controller and for leading the establishment of the Logan Emergency Service Cadet Program. Awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in the General Division, Mr. Jeffrey Thomas Barton, for service to the sport of rugby union as founder of the Outback Barbarians Rugby Club and as a member, manager and sponsorship coordinator of Central Queensland Rugby Union. Dr. James Martin Cuskelly. For service to music education through roles as President of the International Coady Institute and Head of Creative Arts and Design at St Aidan's Anglican Girls' School. Ms. Jamie D. Salas. For service to community health as a founder of the Harvey Bay Parkinson's Support Group and as an associate member of Fraser Coast Community Radio. Mr. John Gerard Eckbert. For service to community health as a life member of the Ankylosing Spondylitis Group of Queensland and as a Foundation Committee member of the Queensland Aid Council. Mrs. Iris Lorraine Gillingham. For service to the community of Sandgate as an elder at Sandgate Uniting Church and as a volunteer chaplain with Carious Outside Women's Prison Ministry. Dr. Michael Miros. For service to medicine, particularly to gastroenterology as Chief Executive Officer at the Southside Endoscopy Centre and as a volunteer with the Australian and New Zealand Gastroenterology International Training Association. Mr. Barry Raymond Oaten. For service to veterans and their families and to the community as a foundation member of the 41st Battalion Association Lismore and as a life member of the National Servicemen's Association Northern Rivers Branch. Mrs. Denise Aileen Wadley. For service to the arts and education administration in Queensland through roles with Queensland Youth Orchestra, the Queensland Conservatorium of Music and the Queensland University of Technology. Your Excellency, that concludes this afternoon's awards. Could I invite you to address the recipients and the guests?
Ladies and gentlemen, Kay and I warmly welcome to Government House today our awardees, their proud and excited families and friends, and our special guests. I at once acknowledge also the traditional custodians of the lands on which we gather, the Turrbal and Yagara peoples, and I pay my respect to their elders past and present with encouragement to their young emerging leaders. As we all listened to the official secretary reading out the citations for each of today's awardees, the most characteristic feature of Australia's honours system became more and more evident. Australians hardly notice it, but those not familiar with our honours system may see an inherent contradiction. Today, our awardees have received our country's highest honours and awards presented by their governor. And yet, despite that high-level recognition and well-deserved attention, today's award recipients could probably walk the streets of most places in our state unrecognised. But I emphasise most because there are specific places, professions and communities in which they would most certainly be known. For instance, if we were to mention the appropriate names in circles familiar with the creative merging of art and science, or among those familiar with action learning in education, there would be immediate recognition. Were we to propose particular names in professional circles such as molecular bioscience, research into cystic fibrosis, or gastroenterology, there would again be recognition. If we drop the right names when speaking of community health in Hervey Bay, of support for people living with mental illness, of rugby union in central Queensland, support for veterans in northern New South Wales, Coday music education and choirs, or in uniting church circles around Sandgate, those names would be well known. If we spoke in the right places of the work of Queensland Fire and Emergency Services in the Callide Valley, of technical rescue capabilities in the same organisation, of the Rural Fire Service, Warden Network, or of that service's work on the Gold Coast, names we've heard today would be recognised and admired. If we spoke in the right circles of personnel from the Queensland Ambulance Service, supporting schoolies, of disaster management following Cyclone Debbie, of clinical support education, patient transport in southeast Queensland, or responses to critical incidents in the Logan region, there would be smiles and nods. And if we were to speak of support for Queenslanders living with specific chronic conditions, including AIDS, or of high-level arts administration in southeast Queensland, certain names would undoubtedly ring bells. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, our awardees' names and faces would be recognised where it matters, in the communities where they've made a difference through selfless service, conspicuous achievement and outstanding professionalism. What is more, our awardees' contributions matter well beyond their individual fields of endeavour. Their work in our communities and the work of others like them is the ultimate source of the strength, resilience, creativity and compassion which characterise Queensland and its people. In that light, we see that there is no contradiction at all in the fact that today's awardees may not be widely recognised, but they thoroughly deserve the national recognition they have received. Not only is there no contradiction, but this grassroots aspect of our honours and awards system is its greatest strength, which we value and celebrate. Speaking for all Queenslanders, I join Kay in extending our heartiest congratulations to the awardees on the great honour due to them today. All Queenslanders are deeply in your debt, ladies and gentlemen, for the marvellous and invaluable contributions you have made to the well-being of the people of our state. Thank you most sincerely for all you have done.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you're able, would you please stand? Thank you, Your Excellency. Could I invite you and Mr. Jersey to retire momentarily while we organise recipients for a photo? Thank you. Flight Lieutenant Moran, could I invite you to take our official guests out, please?
Would you like to find me?
If I could ask the recipients.